C'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Votre attention s'il vous plaît. IPTV Services. Tempo Afrique TV vous offre 6000 chaînes de télévision en direct de l'Afrique, de l'Europe et des États-Unis. Toutes vos chaînes de télévision préférées sous un seul toit. Pour des informations, appelez le numéro suivant +1 612 804 02 95 ou allez sur notre site web tempoafrique.com. Achetez maintenant $193 pour toute l'année, plus l'expédition et le TV Box.
Hot mix mixing.
Welcome back to Ellen Yamal Talk Show here at Tempo Afrique TV. We have some highlighting news that we're going to report to you today, as the title says, with Sudan Unrest. Something that's been going on for the past few days, one of the earliest violence that is taking place right now in East Africa. We're going to give you guys more details about that, what is happening in South Sudan, for many of you that probably haven't woke up to the news yet. And with the continued fight that is happening. But first, I like to say, something wonderful that we should all, embrace and celebrate as well. Today is the Ethiopian New Year. I mean, not New Year, Ethiopian Easter. So it follows the typical American Easter, a Sunday later or a week later. But today is the Ethiopian Orthodox Malcolm Fasika. They call it Fasika. So it's a big erupt celebration there in Ethiopia and to all the Ethiopians around the world. So that is something, we want to say to all our Ethiopian people out there to celebrate the Easter and with families and friends and all the wonderful food you guys could eat in the remembrance of Jesus' resurrection. So. And also, it is Ramadan to all of our Muslim brothers and sisters who are fasting right now and going through the Ramadan as well. So now, going forward to some of our news update we would like to break out to you. In Sudan, there has been airstrikes and bombing that is taking place. We started in Khartoum on Saturday. And it started to spread out in some other parts of the country, and it was minor before it got really severe. And then the fight erupted in the capital, and the military started to bomb some of the buildings, the cities, and also fighting against the civilians as well. So there's unrest that is taking place. If you guys remember the news that we've been reporting in the last year about the march and the people protesting in Sudan. During the time, President al-Bashir stepped down and no longer is the leading president of Sudan. And ever since then, they haven't had a leader. So Sudan has no president yet. There was a conflict issue between the two political parties, and I believe it's a family line kind of a drama as well, where now the people want a whole new president. And the military got involved. So the military who sided with al-Bashir are just kind of roaming, to secure the city as well until they actually find the next president or who's going to take on Sudan. So it has not resulted until now. So there's still, a lot of disagreement and a lot of battles for the seat of who's going to run Sudan next. So on Saturday, everyone had enough of it, and this fight broke out between the military and the paramilitary, which are, in parentheses, RSF forces in Sudan as well. So the actual military, which are the old militaries that are with al-Bashir, And then the paramilitary are the other military who want the new leader that potentially is supposed to take over Sudan. So it's between those two at the moment. And the sad news about it is that it's affecting the civilians well. We have lost many lives so far. So according to the report from Al Jazeera that we have, in the last few hours, about 56 civilians have been killed and 595 people, including combatant, have been wounded in the fight between the Sudanese military and the Paramount Rapid Support Forces as well. So there's a lot of injuries and death going on both sides currently at the moment. So all the prayers goes out to Sudan in how this is going to result as well, and all the innocent civilians that are severely affected as well in the city. Even in some of the schools right now, there's one of the university, people are locked in the dorm during the war. They can't leave, they can't go anywhere. So no one is allowed to leave their houses or go anywhere at the moment. So some of the most highlighting target areas that has been, trying to find securities for it, but also has been bombed as well. So it wasn't quite protected as they were announced. The key areas are the Khartoum International Airport, which was also under attack as well. We don't know how severe the attack was, but there was some bombing close to the areas as well. And a lot of people were hiding under shelter. All the people traveling from all over the world at that airport are all trapped and stuck there for now until, who knows how many days this is going to go on or how long they're going to be there as well. Sudan TV and radio stations also have been attacked. They also have been targeted as well. But there are still some reports, that are able to make the news of what is going on in Sudan to update the rest of the world, and also for everybody to give their condolences and their input as well. Hope that, this will come to an end very quickly before it gets rapidly dangerous for the whole entire country. There's not a lot of local journalists that are able to do their reports right now. So a lot of the reports you're going to see are from the outside medias that are circulating right now all over Google as well. The other one is the military headquarters. So the military headquarters has been attacked. So the new Paramount military are the ones that are trying to take over the country. So this fight could go to a deep end neck, who knows how far, and, it seems like it's either all or nothing at the moment. And the fourth ones are the other ones that are under control. Some of the states area that are under control of the RSF in Khartoum, and also the presidential palace. So we're all wondering what is happening to the presidential palace. And we don't know if the president is living there or if there's any president living in the president's palace. But the president's palace there hasn't been any announcement of attack or any bombing towards the palace. So, and who knows if they're going to aim towards it. Because a lot of these airstriking and bombing are targeting some of the main top areas for Sudan as well, close to Khartoum. And so that's severely what is going on. And some of the things that has been mentioned by the reporter is the fighter jet was witnessed in several districts seeming to target RSF locations using airstrikes. So any area that is controlled by the RSF military control are the ones that are being targeted by the military coup. So this is the 2023 military coup from the Sudan military. And also added that we could see plumes of smoke where those strikes have been carried out. If you check out all the pictures online and some of the videos as well, the smokes are very, 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 very dramatic. So you could see a lot of smoke in the air. You could see how severe it was, how the whole bombing was. So it's really not a whole lot different from the other wars you've been seeing as well, like the Ukraine being bombed and also, you know, what happened in Israel, between Israel and Palestine, and also, you know, Iran as well. Um, some of the countries spoke up to, you know, to put an end or to create an awareness on this crisis that is going on in Sudan right now, in this unrest that is happening. Besides United States, Saudi Arabia as well. Um, so in the United Arab of the Emirates. So they, on Sundays on the fear fighting, they also have called for the opposing side to immediately end hostilities without precondition. Because if this continue to get worse, who knows how many innocent lives will be lost, how many lives will be lost on both side party of the military, and also how much destruction could devastate the whole country of Sudan. So all prayer goes out to Sudan, you know, for everything that is happening right now. We started from Saturday, got extremely severe on Sunday, and now it's still happening. So there hasn't been any reports or any news of things slowing down or, you know, taking breaks from all the airstrikes and the bombing as well. So now going on, I'm going to make some quick announcements of what is coming up in the next few days here in Minneapolis. If you live in Minneapolis or the surrounding cities of Minneapolis, like Iowa, Midwest, you know, the whole Midwest, Nebraska, all those other places, we have a show for you, all right? And this is something that is familiar to a lot of ears so far, because this is what, the 5th year? Newbie Ultimate Runway. Newbie Ultimate Runway, if you remember it, you know, Tempo Africa TV have covered about this event each year, and this year we are also having it again on Friday. So to go on a little more details about the event, it is an event that is, you know, connecting the community here in Minnesota, because here in Minnesota we have a huge diverse, whether it is Africans or Middle Eastern Arabs, Asian or Spanish, and black and white, you know, in general. There is a huge diversity here, and this show is for that diverse group, you know, especially our African people. We want you to have something to enjoy, something to come out to, dress up for, because I know Africans love to dress up. It's a moment to have your beat face, is the moment to have your Ankara or your lace or your talat or your camisa or whatever country you come from, to represent either your ethnicity or dress to impress. Yeah. So that is for you. So Newbie Ultimate Runway is a night of fashion, night of music, night of spotlight, night of network, and also interacting, you know, with your other African people as well, including our Latinos and our Arabs and all the other minorities here in Minnesota. So it will be at 5 Event Center, which is located by Lake Street and Uptown, not far from it. So as you can see the address there, 2917. I don't remember the address by heart, but they're on Bryan Avenue, South Minneapolis. So put on your Google map, 5 Event Center, and that's where the show is going to be. The door opens at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, have everybody in, and then we're going to have an intermission time where everybody gets in, and also a spotlight. Fashion spotlight interview. So whoever dressed the cashiers that night, we're going to know, and you never know who's going to put the camera in front of you. And we're going to ask, you know, same questions like, what do you think of fashion? You know, what does fashion represent? Last year, we had a really good response. I mean, thank you to our host, Nyapai Kek. She is our spotlight host. And the question was, what does fashion mean to you? And pretty much everybody gave the same answer. Fashion is your identity, is who you are. Because it's very true, the way you dress says a lot to other people who you are, you know? I mean, if you wear, you know, dark clothes all the time, leather, whatever, people might think you're a punk, you know? Or, you know, a rock star. And then if you wear like really colorful floral stuff, people might think, oh, you must be a bubbly personality kind of a person, you know? And if you wear suits and ties all the time, people might think, you know, you're a marketer or a branding or a business person or a CEO or entrepreneur. So fashion speaks for us when we don't speak, you know? And it can also tell some mood, you know? So maybe you just woke up and you're tired, you're having a rough day, you just want to go to the grocery store, you know? I mean, some people like to go head over heels, even to go at the grocery store. So it also tells who you are as a person. So this is a night for it. Dress to impress, express who you are. And, you know, we love to see our African or our diversity in their, you know, attire or whatever best outfit they have. You know, this is the best thing we could have in Minnesota and Midwest, you know. So that's this Friday, April 21st at 5 Event Center. Door opens at 7 o'clock. Newbie Ultimate Runway. And the theme is the Nile. So that's another thing too about the event is every year we're always going to tell an historical history moments of Africa. All right. So any of our other neighboring friends or whatever, they can learn about who you are as well, you know, instead of people asking, so what do you do in Africa? Do you like play with monkeys, ride lions, all that stuff? We're going to tell all of those stories, you know, every year. So the show is about history of Africa. What is Africa? What is the culture? What is the tradition? What is our history as well? So it's a very nice experience for your friends, you know, to come through and have that moment as well. And the designs are going to resemble whatever that theme is. So this year is gold and silver. And with the Nile River is the river of life. This is where all the riches and the resources and the spices of Africa were being transferred to the rest of the world, with the main biggest import and transport or export. The only river that flows north in the whole entire planet. So it's the Nile River. So the Nile River was a huge trade market that brought so many goods from Africa to the rest of the world, you know. That's why our resources keep getting sucked out of Africa. But at least we have to tell that history so people know how much contribution Africa is doing to the rest of the world. So that's the thing we have this year is the River Nile. And the fashion is going to tell that story as the model glaze on the runway. Now, lastly but not least, is also an event that is giving back to the community as well. So in the last year and this year, we've been working with an organization in Kenya refugee camp, in the Kakuma refugee camp. A lot of children are orphanaged there. A lot of people from South Sudan, from the 2013 South Sudan genocide and also the previous wars between that. A lot of people are refugee in the Kakuma camp. So many of these children have lost their families. They've lost their mother, their father, or even the ones that still have a mother or a father don't have anything to provide for them. So life has become very challenging even right after the pandemic. So the United Nations is what's helping a lot of these primary and secondary students in schools and their uniforms and their school fee. But the capacity became very large that they were only able to support the primary students up to 10th grade. So up to 10th grade, they are taken care of by the United Nations. And if the child wants to continue their education and actually graduate from the whole entire 12-year school, they would have to have a support from some kind of, you know, system or a family member. So Newbie Ultimate Runway is also committing to help those children as well. So whatever proceeding we make from the door will go to graduating 5 students in the Kakuma refugee camp, so that they can also live their dream, become who they want to be. And some of these children, their stories are so amazing. You know, for example, there was a young man who wants to become, I believe it was an engineer or a doctor. You know, he said, we need the things that are holding us back are things like shoes, uniform, the school book fees, and the tuition. So, and once they complete their school, then they can go to any colleges. They can, even leave the Kakuma camp and be able to go to other neighboring countries to pursue their college degree as well. They can even go back to South Sudan. I mean, South Sudan now is, starting to grow and develop, and is starting to pick up a lot of jobs as well. So those kids that are stuck in the camp can graduate and be able to continue their university, even in South Sudan as well, because there's Juba University, and there's other colleges in Ethiopia as well, in Kenya and Uganda. So, yeah. So Newbie Ultimate Runway, that's all the aspect I want to share with you all about it. So come out Friday, again, April 21st at 5 Event Center. Door opens at 7. And have a great time, and also come support, our African community, and also the children that we are working on back home in the Kakuma camp. Thank you, and everyone have a wonderful week. See you next Sunday.
Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Votre attention s'il vous plaît. IPTV Services. Tempo Afrique TV vous offre 6000 chaînes de télévision en direct de l'Afrique, de l'Europe et des États-Unis. Toutes vos chaînes de télévision préférées sous un seul toit. Pour des informations, appelez le numéro suivant +1 612 804 02 95 ou allez sur notre site web tempoafrique.com. Achetez maintenant $193 pour toute l'année, plus l'expédition et le TV Box.